There I am yesterday, scrolling through my favorite new website, your new home of all things combat sports, uncrowned.com, and I see, what do I see? I see our brand new pound for pound rankings. Now, you'll recall a couple of weeks ago, we unveiled our pound for pound pro wrestling rankings, and everyone was all at Twitter. The blogosphere was going insane. Everyone was very mad. They didn't quite understand the concept, and so I was curious to see what the reception would be to our pound for pound rankings. Much to my surprise, it was actually quite positive. The only one who really hated them was me. I mean, these were questionable at best. Now, I'm not going to be the guy to sit here and say like, oh, no. If you don't agree with my rankings, you can't have the rankings showcased on our website. But I did want to sort of like parse through them and find out what the thought process was, if possible.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you found so disagreeable.
Yeah, let's do it. I am very curious.
Lunacy.
Lunacy is the word.
Lunacy was the word.
No path to victory for Hamza.
I could see the sweat just coming down PT's head. Squeaky bum.
I actually changed mine. Joe, every time I do these, I have it written out, and before I send it, I go, do you know what? Fuck it. And I change it all around, and I send it. And I don't know why I do that. It's like, I was talking to Rick about this briefly. You can make an argument any way you want with these things. It's absolute fairy tale shit. But go ahead.
No, PT, what you don't understand is pound for pound has a very specific definition, and you can't veer away from
Everybody
that.
has
Frank,
a different definition of it, though, right?
No. Frank chickened out.
I don't think you're allowed to speak on this.
Frank chickened out, man.
Helwani and Frank.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's
and
true.
Frank.
Stop chatting shit.
Yeah. By the way, that's a great point. Anyone who doesn't partake cannot speak on this. So, Frank, you need to sit this one out.
Next segment.
Yeah. In case you guys are wondering, it's Shaheen Al-Shadi who's a part of it, the great Connor Burks, which this excites me greatly, if I'm being honest. I actually love it. P.T. Carroll is involved. Ben Folks involved as well. New York Rick, Eric Jackman, Chuck Mendenhall, Drake Riggs, and I do believe that is it. For Rick and GC, first time taking part in something like this, yes?
I think I've probably voted at some point, around like the ESPN era, but I don't know.
I think this is my first time doing a pound for pound rankings.
Did you enjoy the process?
Yep.
Already, by the way, it's infinitely more prestigious than the UFC rankings, just by virtue of the fact that we all have pulses and watch MMA. And
I'm going to start asking AI anyway. I'm going to start asking ChatGPT to do it for me.
Okay,
I'll give you 2018 rankings, though. I've tried it already.
That's right. You did it on the air.
Male rankings. We ended up with this. So again, everyone weighs in, and then by virtue of some sort of point system, this is how it all pans out.
This is the aggregate.
The aggregate, yes. Islam Makhachev 1, Alex Pereira 2, Ilya Taporia 3, Merab Dvalishvili 4, John Jones 5, Tom Aspinall 6, Francis Ngannou 7, Bilal Muhammad 8, Dricus Duplessis 9, 10, Khamzat Chimaev. So my thing is, like, I think it is so easy right now to pick the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, and I think it's Alex Pereira, just because of the fact that he has been a champion in 2 different weight classes. Ultimately, my definition of pound for pound is if everyone was the same weight, who'd be the best fighter? But if someone actually shows you that they can have success 2 different weight classes, and a lot of people think he can have success in a 3rd weight class, how could it be any kind of discussion? That's why people are favoring, Jones right now. They're like, oh, look at him. He went up to heavyweight. Of course he has to be pound for pound, despite the fact that he's been so inactive. 1 fight in almost 5 years. That's the argument in favor of John Jones. Alex is actually doing it, and not that long ago he was 185. Now he's 205. Let me just take a quick gander. I'm assuming at least one of you, I know it's an aggregate, picked Alex Pereira number 1. Just looking quickly here. Connor, okay, Islam. Alex 3, which... PT, Alex 1, thank you.
Wow.
And Eric Jackman, Alex 3, Islam 1. How is this
counterpoint? Yeah, I mean, let me
go ahead, please.
So you've kind of got pound for pound right, at least in the origination of it. It is not like can you go up in weight. It is if everybody was the same size, the skill sets translated across the size, where would they be? So going up in weight by definition isn't proof of pound for pound status. It could be evidence to support it, but if I believe that Islam Makhachev could go up 3 divisions and capture belts and Alex Pereira can only go up 2, then by definition, Islam is actually ahead of him. I'm just saying that as like a thought example. That's not actually what I believe. But no, it doesn't really have bearing on it going up and capturing a title. It proves that you can do it, but if I believe Islam could do it too, then it's the equivalent.
Pizza, your thoughts? Because you and I agree.
I'm so angry with Rick. I can't believe you have him.
No.
Connor Burks, you're a disgrace. Oh!
Also,
look, I have Pereira because the way he's going about his business, you know, unlike your guy, you know, he's actually fighting guys in his weight class, Rick and GC. So yeah, no, I just think he is shit hot at the moment, and that's why I put him top of the pile. If everything's equal, I thought was an interesting comment, and I can't wait till we break down our discussion on the heavyweight situation based on that.
What do you mean? What do you
criteria.
mean? Go ahead.
Well, you know, I'm looking around these rankings and I'm seeing a lot of people with John Jones ahead of Tom Aspinall, but I mean, everything is equal there. They are all in the
greatest
same weight
and most
class.
well-rounded fighter of all time, John Jones. That one.
Yeah. I heard he fights every 4 years or so. Looking forward to his next one.
Just a few weeks away.
Everything is equal. Everything is equal when it comes to the heavyweight. So essentially, you're saying you'd pick John Jones over Tom Aspinall, which is fair. But that's what that reads to me.
It is important to note that the boys in the back, in particular, Rick and GC, are single-handedly keeping Francis below Jones and Aspinall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 second, let me.
Sure am.
A lot of it is about what you've
call Big
accomplished as well. And at this point, what John Jones
Well, I
has
call
accomplished
Tom.
in his career, last time we saw him fight, what I think he's probably about to do against Stipe Miocic, I think he deserves to be in the top 5.
Well, you can't go based on what you think he's going to do because that, you know.
Yeah, true.
That's.
You can though.
You can't rank based on results to come.
That's what pound for pound is.
No, it's not based on results.
No.
You can't say you think he's going to beat Stipe. That's why I'm preemptively putting him up there. If you say, "Oh, I think John beats Alex in this fictitious world," yeah, but this is a fight that's coming up in 2 weeks. That can't be part of the argument.
Of course it can.
Yeah, it actually can be anything.
I mean, I guess
these are
anything.
fictitious rankings.
Yeah, that is true. That is fair. When you boil it down, it's what
John
makes
Jones
pound
is
for
one
pound.
of the greatest fighters of all time, and he's still competing at an elite level. He deserves to be
Once in
ranked
5
in the
years.
pound rankings.
Oh, 100%. But we all agree now at number one.
No,
I don't
he's
think
not
he should be number 1, but I think the top 3 are easy to break down, and I think that's Ilya, Alex, and Islam in whatever order you want to put it in.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, I think we all have that.
But I will say, like, I do agree with what GC is saying because I'm speculating when I put Aspinall above Jones and Francis because I think if they fought tomorrow, Tom would beat both of them. But like I know you're kind of more looking at body of work, the fact that this guy was a light heavyweight champion. But are we not talking about right now who is the best pound for pound based on if they fought right now and everything was equal? That means Tom Aspinall would win in my system because I think he would beat both John Jones and Francis Ngannou.
See, then it gets tough because like I think if Khamzat Chimaev were to go up to 205 because of his skill set and the way he plays against Alex Pereira, I think he would beat Alex Pereira, but I ranked him obviously under because of the things that Alex Pereira has been able to accomplish.
Okay, so this is good.
Yeah, no, I understand.
This is who you voted for and how. Islam 1, Ilya 2, Alex 3, Jones 4, Merab 5, Aspinall 6, Khamzat 7, DDP 8, Pantoja 9, Bilal Muhammad 10. I did notice, and I was going to actually bring this up, but I didn't want to, create a mutiny. Conspicuous by his absence in the top 10, the overall top 10 is the flyweight champion, Alexandre Pantoja. But you gave him that respect.
Yeah, I felt like he deserved to be in there. Like we just talked to him. Several title defenses adding up. Could get another great one here in December. I feel like a defending champion should be in the top 10.
New York Rick as well had him in his top 10. One man who did not was Ireland's own P.T. Carroll. Please explain.
Got to break a few eggs to make an omelette, lads. You know what I mean? This is rankings, baby. It's cutthroat. And I'm disgusted with Rick and GC again. I want to highlight. Oh, so annoyed, you guys. All right?
What can we do to make it better, Pizzi? Well,
it's going to take a long time for me to get over this one.
PT's final rankings were number 1, Alex, number 2, Islam, number 3, Ilya. Have to say, love that. Love Aspinall at 4, Francis 5 over Jones 6. No problem with that. Merab, DDP, Bilal, and Khamzat. I have to say, other than the exclusion of Pantoja,
He was 11th.
Is he 11th?
He's 11th. He actually. No, I'm not even going to get into it. He was 11th.
Okay. You could make the case that, because he's champion, this and that, over Khamzat inactive, but you gave Khamzat the nod. I'm assuming prior to this weekend, you didn't have Khamzat as number 10 or in the top 10.
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. He got in there, fair play to him, just tiptoed over the line after that devastating, jaw-crushing performance over Robert Whittaker.
Oh, my gosh. What about that doctor that we had on, huh? With that
He was
thing?
brilliant, but the graphics and all blew my mind.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Does he want to start hosting the crack?
We talked to him about it. By the way, speaking of New York Rick, Islam 1, Ilya 2, Alex 3, Khamzat 4, John Jones 5, DDP 6, Marab 7, Bilal 8, Aspinall 9, Pantoja 10. Aspinall all the way.
Perfect list.
Aspinall so
Neither
perfect.
Connor or Rick have Francis Ngannou in the top 10.
No, I've got 2 heavyweights ahead of him.
Man, Aspinall's so far down there too.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, my thought process on this was a combination of resume and the moving of divisions. There's just some guys that I think have skill sets that are comparable there. If you tell me I'm moving Tom up, I'm okay there, and some other guys down, but it's kind of just how it shook out. But
Can
I
just
Pizza.
make a comment about the realization that I had while I was making making this ranking, and that's probably the best thing that came over for me was you did the thing about Dana and Francis. You did that great breakdown on Monday, Ariel, about the saga that's going on between them, and the one thing that I was thinking when I was watching all this stuff over the weekend was like, it's amazing how much Dana White cares about this. As much as he kind of says like, oh, I sleep well at night. I'm sure he does. The guy's, loaded. He's doing great things with the UFC. But I was surprised how much it obviously annoys him when he has that sheet ready at the Power Slap press conference, right, to reel off how Power Slap is better than PFL. But as I'm making them rankings, and I'm like, geez, my heavyweights are way too high up here for most people, I'd imagine. But I was like, this might be the golden era of heavyweight MMA, and we're not going to get to see any of these guys fight each other. That's a crying shame. And if there's anything that the UFC, we should be annoyed with the UFC about here, is the fact that they could have made Francis v. Jones and they didn't, and they could make Jones v. Aspinall and they haven't. And that is an indictment on them in terms of heavyweight MMA, because I think if these guys were all fighting each other, this would be the greatest era of all time.
Wow.
I think
that was less passionate as Darren, but it was just as.
Come on, Zany, you fucking prick! Give it a bit.
I think we will see some of them fight. Not Francis versus UFC champion, unfortunately, but I do think we will see John versus Tom, maybe.
Yeah, even speaking to the Aspinall camp very recently, they're all very confident all of a sudden that that's going to happen. So fingers crossed we do get that.
Heavyweight's hard. Heavyweight's hard. They're the hardest ones to rank in this pound for pound thing.
Can I say this? And you just said it, and I've been guilty of this as well. I was talking to some people very close to Stipe, and maybe I was just drinking the Kool-Aid. Man, I do feel like there's been a lot of slander thrown his way, and I've said it myself, like, Tom should be fighting. He's the real heavyweight champ. Stipe Miocic can easily screw all of this up. He can easily screw, like, this is not a bum. This isn't a gimmick fight. He's been out for a while. He's taking this very seriously. I don't know, everything I heard about who he's working with, who he's sparring with, it would be such an MMA type of story, right? Where we've been talking this whole year about Francis and John, and then John and Aspinall's there, and he takes the heat away. If Stipe waltzes in there and screws it all up, and then it would be the most Stipe move ever to screw it all up and retire, right? Remember, this is the guy who, when Dana White tried to put the belt around his waist in Boston, he took the belt and gave it to his head coach and said, I'm going to have someone who respects me and who I respect put it around my waist. What a move. What a parting shot it would be. And let's be very clear. Stipe is getting the opportunity. They've been very respectful, very complimentary. They're paying him well, all these things and more. But what a freaking parting shot by the most decorated heavyweight champion of all time. if he wins this fight and then just says, peace, I'm out of here. Like, I do think we need to start talking about that being a possibility. Ultimately, you know, am I going out on a limb like I did with Khamzat and Rob? No, I've retired from that, at least for now, at least for this week. But I don't think it's as crazy a thought. Like, I don't even know what the odds are at the moment. I'm assuming John Jones is the favorite.
Yeah,
I'm gonna guess
minus 700.
Wow,
Stipe plus 500.
Man, this is Stipe Miocic. It's like he's not a bum.
Bo Nicholas.
Yeah, but this is also John Jones. You can do it's Stipe, but on the other side of it, this is John Jones.
This is John Jones, who has fought once since 2020.
Oh, what's Stipe done?
Yeah, when was the last time Stipe fought?
2022.
How'd that go?
I'm just saying, it's not like one guy's been fighting and one guy hasn't. Like, you're talking about John Jones. By the way, his last 3 fights were very, very close. He's still getting involved in things. I'm not saying. Here's what I am saying. I don't think he just steamrolls through him like he steamrolled Ciryl Gane. Is that a fair take?
Yeah, I can agree with that, and I think there is a possibility that Stipe is able to pull off, like, I guess what the MMA community is thinking is the unthinkable. I mean, he's 42 years old, but it is heavyweight. I mean, if you were going to do it at any division, this would be the one to do it. He is obviously one of, if not the greatest heavyweights of all time. So, like, yeah, you are right. It would be the most MMA thing of all time for Stipe Miocic to derail everything and then just walk off into the sunset and leave all this chaos in his dust.
What would be so incredible about that is Francis walked away with 1 belt. Then the second belt that they crafted, Stipe is walking away with that one at some point. And then we've got the Tom Aspinall belt kind of just sitting there as the third in the actual order.
It will be more splintered. It will be the only time in recent UFC history that the boxing heavyweight titles are actually more unified than the UFC/MMA heavyweight titles, right?
Well,
because
this is the prime example of it being against everything that was Dana White's mission statement early on with the UFC. Like, this is the most clear example of that. What's happening at heavyweight. I do agree with you that I think people are almost looking at Stipe Miocic like the Mike Tyson to John Jones's Jake Paul. You know, like, wow, this guy, you know, where's his health at, because he had that limp when he was last seen at a UFC event. But honestly, it would, based on how the narrative is being formed, it would go down as, like, despite Stipe's stellar career and being one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, I think it would go down as one of the biggest upsets ever, because everyone has their head so far in what happens after this as opposed to what actually happens in Madison Square Garden.
when you say upset, I don't know if I can say Stipe winning at heavyweight is an upset in any era. I think maybe what you mean is people will be upset.
No, this would be an
No,
upset.
I think
No,
he
it'd
means
be
it.
a
John Jones,
massive
Stipe
bookmakers
Miocic minus
upset.
700 getting beat. That's an upset.
I don't think.
You understand how odds work, right, Ariel?
No, I don't think.
that is an upset.
I don't think those are fair odds. I think that's very disrespectful.
right,
I'm
well,
sympathetic to what.
Jesus, what was this chat? When did this chat happen? You've changed it.
I know. You can 6x your money on Stipe Miocic right now.
Were you talking to his ma? What happened? Fucking hell.
I'm sympathetic to the idea that like Stipe deserves respect. I think that's accurate. But man, like last win was August 15, 2020. Like.
Yeah, his
I
last
need
fight
to
was
see
also
something.
2021. It was March 2021.
I can hear everything. I need to see something before I'm willing to believe that.
By the way, in that time frame, John Jones has one win.
And it was over Cyril Gane.
Yeah, I mean,
what a
and by the
win,
way, August
Never
2020.
lost before
August
that
2020. Who was that win against? Tell us who that win was against.
Daniel Cormier.
Yeah. One of the greatest ever.
In
Ever.
2020.
Ever. Yeah, but
All right, let's lock it in. H down number 2. We're already back. The new era of the H down.
tell you something right now.
Plus 500.
Stipe Miocic will win decisively.
No path to victory for John Jones.
No path to no.
Path to victory for John.
Well,
I get where you're coming from. Because again, like John Jones had one fight at heavyweight. And it seemed like a matchup that was kind of like beneficial to him. It was a favorable style matchup.
And we saw him for 60 seconds.
And we saw him for no time at all. And so we don't know much about John Jones at heavyweight. But I will take the stuff I don't know about John Jones over the stuff I don't know for what Stipe Miocic is doing for the last X years. Like
I love the chaos theory of Stipe Miocic winning this fight because it does feel like no one's giving him a chance. You're kind of selling me on just
it is
blindly backing Stipe.
By the way,
like,
I'm blessed.
Yeah, you guys keep making all these plans, but Stipe's got something else up his sleeve.
it's a coin flip fight. It's a 50-50 fight, if you ask me.
Wow.
I really do believe that.
I don't know.
I really,
Who was this?
This chat must have.
I really do
What did he
believe.
say?
Listen, I
Wait,
did my
we
due
need to know
diligence.
what he said.
I said, listen, I need to know what's going on here, and all the things I heard were very interesting, and I just thought, this guy's not here to take part. Like, he's not here to just be a part of the heavyweight sweepstakes and be like, oh yeah, here, John, you can fight me. Let's be honest. They thought that this was a winnable matchup. And you know what really like got me going on this? Going through that footage of the UFC 2020 and just seeing prime Stipe and seeing how freaking mad he was going into that fight. It was a different, the guy who fought Francis was a little bit different and obviously older. It was a few years later and it was pandemic and it was Apex. I think we see motivated Stipe. I think we see superhero Stipe. I think we see fireman, first responder Stipe, who wants to go out as the most decorated heavyweight champion of all time. I mean, the disrespect is palpable.
I'm all for that narrative. I think it's a good one. I think we will also see motivated John Jones, who's been hearing about Tom Aspinall for quite a bit and probably wants to remind people who the F he is as the GOAT of MMA.
It's for sure.
Can we find out all this information? It looks like he's got an OnlyFans. Can I go on his OnlyFans and find out?
Stipe, what's he showing off there? What's he doing
Looks like
there?
some training stuff.
Me too,
Link in
bitch.
bio. Stipe Miocic, 42-year-old Stipe Miocic dropping link in bios.
Woo.
More on OnlyFans.
Bro.
Spice.
I might have to sign up.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on the OnlyFans, but God bless him for that. I will just say you're 100% right. I agree with you, Rick. This is not supposed to come off as any type of slander, but I'm just saying. I mean, one guy was probably in the bunker today hitting tires with sledgehammers. The other guy was on a Zoom call about 90 days. I'm just saying.
Isn't that when we get John Jones at his best? If we're
I mean,
honest?
the OSP fight wasn't his best.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you're right. Maybe actually him at his worst.
Are you and Dana on the same hymn sheet all of a sudden here, Ariel? That's what it feels like to me.
Well, it's
Isn't
funny.
this, in fact, the best fight you can make a heavyweight right now? Is it John Jones and Stipe Miocic?
By the way, it's funny you say that. And to celebrate this moment,
What do we have?
what I'm about to do right now, I just want to because this is such a big moment. I've just gifted, I think, 20 people in the chat membership. So congratulations to all of you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. No, you're 100% right, Pizza. You know why? Because Dana and I are on the same page much more than you would think, because he actually said this recently about the pound for pound rankings.
Dana,
Yeah.
one more question about John Jones. In your pound for pound list, he's number one. So, but on the paper, it's Islam Makhachev number one. What should Islam do or achieve to overcome John Jones in your pound for pound list?
Yeah, I understand. What should he do? Just keep doing what he's doing. You just keep doing what you're doing. He hasn't done it as long as John Jones has, and he hasn't done it as consistently as Alex Pereira has. I mean, really, when you talk about pound for... Now, if you guys argued with me and said, we think you're wrong, we think Alex Pereira is number one and Jones is number two, I could probably live with that.
Hey.
And I know it sounds like I'm shitting on him, but I don't. I love Islam. He's a great kid. He's a hard worker. He fights everybody. I'm just being honest.
Dana and I agree.
I think we've lost the plot here. If I'm being, I think
wild
I think
conversation.
pound for pound is silly. Let me just say that. I'm voting on this. I think pound for pound is silly as a concept. But I have to be convinced that there's an answer other than Islam Makhachev. I can't be convinced that there is somebody. Dustin, Volk, Charles. Who's got four wins better than that recently?
Oh, Dana's definition of pound for pound is completely out of whack. I mean,
But I'm saying our definition, right? You guys are saying it's Alex. Dustin, Volk, Charles. Can you top that? If somebody can make a case for somebody doing better than that, I'm all ears.
People poke holes. Volk was a 45.
Does he do the bow and arrow
So-
thing?
so
though?
why
Does
are we
his-
giving
does he do the
Taporia-
bow- Does he do the bow and arrow thing?
So why are we
Does
giving
Islam do-
Taporia all this love for beating Volk then?
I mean, same weight class, 4 months as opposed to a week.
it's Islam's fault that Volk came up to.
It's not
challenge him
Islam's
for his
fault.
belt.
I have Islam too. I just have Alex
He's
to
won.
me. Alex
He's
to me.
won.
No, Alex to me jumps over because he's won belts in 2 different weight classes.
You also talk about poking holes, like the not really fighting someone that goes to grapple him is a hole for Alex Pereira.
Nah, listen. The only time that could be brought up is Khalil over Magomed. Other than that, he has fought the top guy. It just so happens the top guy is a good matchup for him. I don't think they have protected him in that regard in any way, shape, or form. Do you think so?
I agree with that.
I don't think they protected him, but like we still haven't seen a fight where someone truly tries to depend on the grappling against him.
Sure, and hopefully we see it next. The only time that they have clearly given him a style that is a little bit more favorable is just a couple of weeks ago. I don't think they've, done that.
As a thought experiment, is there a 170-pound fighter on this planet right now that you would pick over Islam Makhachev?
Yes.
Who?
Remember the name.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, I'm actually happy that you guys
probably Shavkat Rakhmonov.
That we made it clear that you guys made those picks because he was about to do a podcast in front of his loyal 100 viewers and blame me for how low he was on the rankings. I had nothing to do with it. Okay.
Where did Bilal net out?
I come in peace.
I forget. Where was he on the phone?
I just noticed all of you had him very low.
I had him. Wait, really?
Pretty low.
No, you had him.
It was very low. We had him in the top 10 of our
I'm
pound for
just
pound
saying
rankings.
that. Listen, with
like
Bilal,
700.
with Bilal,
fight
you think
roster.
that's good enough?
That's
You think
solid.
that's good enough?
8 sounds good
Bilal
to
had
me.
him at 8.
How dare you
sorry.
have him below
Rick had
John
him at 8.
Jones?
Jesus
How dare you have him below John Jones?
Okay, but truly, like, I haven't seen the evidence that has anybody above Islam in my
That's fine.
I just haven't seen it.
Listen, it's tomato. Let's take a look at the women's rankings, shall
Yes.
we? Valentina Shevchenko, number 1 overall. Zhang Weili, number 2. Chris Cyborg, number 3. Kayla Harrison, number 4. Alexa Grasso, number 5. Juliana Pena, friend of the program, number 6. Manon Fiorot, number 7. Larissa Pacheco, number 8. Tatiana Suarez, number 9. And Seika Izawa, number 10. Now, let me just take a quick look here. I just want to see how the boys in the back voted for Juliana. Juliana 4 for GC over the likes of Kayla Harrison and Alexa.
Favoritism.
Yeah.
I ride with my people.
Let's see, Rick, how he got.
Tom Aspinall, obviously not one of your people anymore, GC.
Juliana 6 for Rick.
Yeah,
Pacheco and Harrison under the contender over champ. Explain yourself, Rick.
The lights are getting bright in here.
Let's just let me get the time code here.
It's hot. It's hot under these lights.
Wow.
It was cold in the studio before. Now it's getting hot. I don't know what I was thinking when I said that.
You actually disagree
I
now.
might have to retract that.
Wow. This is a rare moment of Rick saying he was wrong.
I might have to just say my bad on that one.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, come back to me. Come back to me at another point. I gotta think this through. I gotta. Figure
Well,
out
your
what I was
top 10,
Yeah,
just for the
let's do it.
record: Valentina, Cyborg, Zhang Weili, Kayla Harrison, Larissa Pacheco, Juliana Pena. Of course, Pena and Pacheco just fought, one won, one lost. No NBD. Tatiana Suarez, Manon Fiorot, Alexa Grasso, Virna Jandiroba. I think it's all out of whack, if I'm being honest.
Now, again, you're now going like it's the wins and the losses. Like, what is your criteria? I'm not quite sure.
What have you done for me?
Criteria.
It's what have you done for me plus fictitious. If everyone was the same weight, plus strength of schedule equals pound for pound. That's the formula.
So Larissa is lower than who? Like you seem to take issue with Larissa on mine. Being
Larissa's a tricky one because she does have the
above
winner
two.
for Kayla, who
Right.
you rate highly, number 4.
Yeah.
She's coming off a loss, but against an all-time great. So
Correct.
how much can you dock
Against
her for
my
that?
number 2 pound for pound.
Okay, but then we have Alexa Grasso down low despite coming off a loss to the number 1 pound for pound, who she also has a win over.
She got dominated though.
I mean, these rankings are it's tough
suspect.
to keep up with all of our rankings.
Yeah.
So I'm not siding with you, Ariel, though, because you can't be casting these stones when you chickened out on making the rankings.
Oh, chickened out is an interesting.
You were invited to make the rankings.
So
you
busy.
did not.
I was so
Same
jealous
with
when I
Frankie
saw the
over there.
email.
Frankie was also invited.
Frank has no excuse.
Everyone stop chatting shit.
Here's the thing.
I was so jealous.
Executive.
Everyone apart from Ariel and Frank, please send in your rankings.
Well,
that was
executive.
shot to the heart.
It's just got so many meetings and so many decisions and so many things.
Rick's
to
got
do.
a lot of meetings.
I couldn't squeeze it in. I tried to. Ask Chuck. I really did try to in earnest, but maybe.
What was y'all's process for making these rankings? It took me all of like 90 seconds.
You can. I mean, people. That's.
I'm still not sure what pound for pound means.
I will say
neither do any of us. Based on this conversation,
Yeah,
none of us
nobody
actually
does.
have one concrete fucking understanding.
Because
of
there
what
is
this
none.
means.
That's like big sports debate came up with the pound for pound ranking, so you could just endlessly debate it.
Like
It's just like MJ versus LeBron. You can never get to a conclusive end.
the ubiquitous.
I love
big
it.
Sport. I love that.
Big sport. Come on. The same people that created First Take created the pound for pound ranking.
Yeah, I call these barbershop debates.
Yeah,
I love the idea of people at a barbershop, at a bar, at a cafe, just being like, "Nah, you're crazy. You're crazy." I love that shit. That's what makes me
a debate that literally you cannot come to a concrete answer on.
Although if Alex Pereira fights John Jones, which could happen, I mean,
but
that,
again,
that can answer them two where they fall.
Yeah, that's
doesn't answer if we feel like.
In my opinion, there's only been one time in UFC history where we got number 1 versus number 2 pound for pound fighting each other, and that was DC versus John Jones.
Islam and Volk, I think.
They claim to say that, at the time, I don't know. I felt
You said it. You
had Volk 1 and Islam 2.
I had Volk after the fight 1. I put him.
Who would have been the one
Jesus Christ,
in there?
No, you know what? I take back. It's been what bothered me about that fight was that they said this was the first time, and I felt like they were ignoring.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I think those guys were definitely 1 and 2 at that time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But before that, John.
But it wasn't the first time.
No.
In women's MMA, has it happened?
Amanda and Cyborg could be an argument.
Yeah, that's a good point. Amanda, I mean, she blew right by her. I mean, if Zhang Wei Li fights Valentina,
I have Cyborg ahead, but I could see an argument for those two.
Let's take a quick gander.
I think that would definitely be the UFC pound for pound rankings 1 and 2, though.
I think most won't have Cyborg ahead of Zhang or Valentina. I did, but I think there's a very reasonable case for those to be 1 and 2.
You know, for someone who says he didn't spend a lot of time on these, and despite your slander, GC, I thought yours were quite good. Zhang Wei Li 1.
No ball, man.
Valentina 2, Cyborg 3, Pena 4, Harrison 5, Grasso 6, Manos 7, Pacheco 8, Tatiana 9, Blanchfield 10. I don't hate
Where's
that.
my love for Verna, though? That's what I'm wondering.
I know you do love Verna.
Where's everybody else with the Verna hive? I'm all in on that.
Okay, well, speaking of which, your rankings. Actually, we read yours already, right? Yeah, we did read yours.
Let's make special note that Verna was.
Well, let's see if Pizzi showed love to Verna. Let's see. Zhang Wei Li 1.
Absolutely not.
Valentina 2. I was trying to build up to it, Pizzi. Cyborg 3, Harrison 4, Grasso 5, Pena 6, Pennington 7, still in there. I think you're the only one.
Very close fight with Pena. We all seem to be forgetting, yeah?
Yeah.
I remember one of our panel
I had a
quite a big comment about it initially.
Easiest fight to score of the year.
Pacheco 9, Suarez 10. You have Pennington over Suarez, huh?
That's right.
There is no method to any of this.
But can I say something? I feel like for whatever reason, because the gap in women's MMA is literally 15 to 35, right? For all intents and purposes, there's the odd 45 there, but it's really it feels a lot more like the women's MMA rankings feel almost a lot more concrete. Do you know what I mean? Like in men's MMA, we're going from 265 to 125.
Yes, a lot of these fights can happen and have happened in certain scenarios.
And you could see a scenario like Tatiana. I could see Tatiana fighting at 25, at 15, even at 35. Same with Valentina. Same with the likes of Cyborg at 45.
I was going to say Cyborg seems to be a little bit on the outside of that, and so although Pacheco and Cyborg, right? But so does like somebody like Azawa who made the list.
Yeah.
Outside. So,
could you imagine a woman coming along who is able to go between the 3 weight classes and somehow become champ of all 3?
That would be sick.
Is Valentina not kind of that one? I feel like.
Well, she tried. I mean, she had 135.
I'm talking about actually getting the belt at all 3
at the
of
exact same time.
I mean,
oh wow, yeah. Now we're talking triple champ.
Cyborg?
That's how you create a super duper uber star.
But Valentina had some fights with Amanda. Like I think it could have been possible for her, and still could. Honestly, like I don't know. Val at 35 doesn't feel impossible for me.
Well, just like this show with our rankings, working through the kinks. I think this was very healthy. I think this was very valuable.
I thought they were great rankings.
Yeah, I
the
think
most respected pound for pound ranking.
I agree. In the end, you have to respect
everyone who took part in it.
Yeah.
No comment for anyone.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, shame on you. Thanks for watching this video. Hey, before you go, do me a favor, hit that sub button, give us a thumbs up, hit the little bell thingy as well. Leave us a nice comment or two. We appreciate you all very much.